from Mississippi, the Five Blind Boys. The Timothy Wright Memorial Choir.
Whatever betide, Lord will, take care of it.
The Gospel Slide Minister, Brother Derek Smith. The legendary Roscoe Robinson, formerly of the Blind Boys of Mississippi and Alabama. Little Sammy and the Mighty Flying Clouds. Deacon Williams and the Soul Converters. The Peoples Brothers. Eddie and the Joy Wonders. The Sunset Jubilees. The Fantastic Solinaires. Brother Lenny Stewart Jr. Your MC, Sister Liz Black, Sister Virginia Cotton, and Dalton Anderson is all happening on Saturday, November the 10th at the New Covenant Temple of United Holy Church of America, 1805 Amsterdam Avenue, a corner of 149th Street in New York. No tickets at the door. No tickets at the door. For information, you can call 347-346-8365. That's 347-346-8365. Dr. Ruth Singateri's 53rd anniversary featuring the Jackson Southerners. Saturday, November the 10th. Saturday, November the 10th. For more information, 347-346-8365. This is Dalton Anderson. I'll see you there. Eddie always.
Hi, I'm Audrey Adams, and you're going to be listening to Talk with Audrey. We've got a lot to talk to you about today. As you know, the election is going strong. I hope all of you out there have voted. We're going to talk, of course, about Hurricane Sandy, which devastated portions of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Queens, the Rockaways, you name it. She just came through here and wreaked some havoc. So we're going to find out what we can do to help in the relief efforts. And, of course, you know, as always, it's going to be insightful, intelligent information. I have joining me after the break, Michelle Bishop. She's the president of the Harlem Needle Arts, and we're going to find out what you can do to help the victims of Hurricane Sandy. I'm Audrey Adams. You're listening to Talk with Audrey on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. We'll be right back after this.
Live in the mix from 3 to 6 each and every Thursday morning. It's Mystic Vibes with your host, Mike Stoops on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York.
Hi there, I'm Audrey Adams, and you're listening to Talk with Audrey, insightful, intelligent information to help you improve the quality of your life or someone else's. And that's where we're going to start our show today. As you know, Hurricane Sandy came through New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Queens, Far Rockaway. You heard the voice of my guest. She is Michelle Bishop, and she's the president of Harlem Needle Arts. I've asked her to come here today because, Michelle, I think we all want to do something. We feel helpless because things just don't seem to be flowing the way that we had hoped in terms of getting to all the people at the same time. And it really is almost an impossibility. But I think with concerted efforts that, just us folks can be very, very helpful. But before we talk about some of your organization's efforts, let's first talk about Harlem Needle Arts. I get your emails all the time. And welcome, Michelle Bishop, to Talk with Audrey.
Thank you, Audrey, for having me. Harlem Needle Arts preserves fiber and needle arts in the African diaspora. And through our efforts, we provide technical support for artists, we provide instruction, curate exhibitions, and create opportunities for artists, whether they be novice or established artists, to participate in exhibitions, be published, and provide a resource bank for our artists here in Harlem and abroad.
Well, I noticed when I went to the website that you guys have some really, really interesting partnerships. Why don't you tell us about some of those?
Well, there are friends and partners. I think of our artists as partners. So we talk about Laura Gadsden, who's a fabulous quilt artist, and a jack of all trades. There's Zenobia Bailey, Dingham McCannon. Who else is in our mix? Lisa Shepard-Stewart, who's on our board, Gail Edwards, Twain Ravel. These are all artists who are quilters, knitters, crocheters, weavers, and spinners. Sahara Briscoe is also a spinner, as well as a fabulous knitter. They are in the world of these particular art forms from a more artistic point of view, as well as a functional point of view. And we've had partnerships with the Museum for the City of New York. We've been at County Cullen Library, programming at the Schomburg, the Dwyer Cultural Center, just to name a few.
Wow. How'd you get involved?
How did I get involved? Well, as the founder, they say follow your passion.
Yes.
I guess some years ago, it's twofold. Some years ago, my mother wanted to learn how to crochet, and I went in search of someone to teach her because she and I were butting heads. I crochet and I quilt. So I couldn't find anything in Harlem. I went everywhere, and people were like, oh, no one does that anymore. I'm like, well, I think it's a fun art form.
Right.
So I decided to host a class. I hired a teacher. She got a gig because she was a dancer in London. And sort of left me hanging for a minute. So I said, okay, let me teach this class, promoted it via email, and that started the world of Harlem Needle Arts, as well as I'm a member of Harlem Girls Quilting Circle. And when that also kicked off, I began to do a lot of research about the history of quilting in the African diaspora and sort of the stories behind it, which is really significant for me. And it's not often told. It's not often given the credit that is definitely due. So that started the mission. And so when I left my other life in the world of special events, fundraising, and database development, I started
doing what you love. Good for you. That's one of those incredible stories that you hear of people pursuing their passion and being very successful at it. But I used to sew.
Okay.
I still have my sewing machine, and I don't knit or crochet. I did attempt to make a quilt once, and if you ever try to do any of those things, guys, I can tell you that it takes a very deep commitment, especially if you're a perfectionist like me. And when I saw the beautiful artwork on the Harlem Needleworks site, I was just... I was speechless.
Thank you. It's a labor of love. It's part of our soul and commitment. And I think one of the messages, particularly when we are dealing with young people, we want to instill in them a sense of pride and accomplishment when they're creating in these art forms.
Wow. Well, my hat's off to you on that one.
Thank you.
I got to tell you, I'm getting ready to take my hat off to you yet again. Hurricane Sandy. When we spoke earlier, you mentioned that you hadn't had a chance really to go out and see any of the devastation. I don't personally think you have to see it to know it. But you have spoken with people who've been affected by it.
Yes.
Can you tell us what you're hearing, please?
I'm hearing houses completely destroyed, not knowing in some cases when they can go back to their homes. Some people are fortunate to have family members they can go to, but at some point they still have to go back and clean out their space.
If there is a space
If there
left.
is a space, they have to salvage what they can, if they can. Then there are other people who still have no electricity, no heat and hot water, completely displaced. And for me, that was a major concern because this is a long-term effort. It's not just this week. I think, unfortunately, some people didn't take the warnings as seriously.
Right.
And it's not a blame. I think we're not accustomed to having this type of weather in the Northeast. Here in Harlem, as quiet as it may be kept, and maybe not so quiet, Fifth Avenue was like streaming with water from a tidal surge.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes. In Esplanade Gardens, there were about 125 cars completely destroyed.
I had no idea, and I live 5 or 6 cross blocks
Yes.
from Les. Oh, my goodness.
And also in the back of Riverton, on the back end, on the Madison Avenue side,
Yes.
near the FDR. So we of course, everyone here in Harlem survived, but there's still the unseen that we're not seeing, particularly in Far Rockaway, Coney Island. I'm working with Reverend Lisa Jenkins, who is an adjunct professor at York College, where they have a shelter.
Yes.
So that's where we are starting our efforts. We're being specific about what the needs are because we don't want anyone to waste anything,
Right.
but we want to be able to support the families. And I am hopeful that we'll be able to do this on a continuing basis in the weeks to come. Also, Reverend Darren Ferguson, his church was destroyed
And his church is where?
in Far Rockaway.
Okay.
Right on the beach, near the beach. And so I've spoken to him. He's also directed me to organizations within the community. I am thankful for social media, and I encourage anyone listening to be on social media because that's how we get real-time answers to questions, and we can support those instantly.
How do you, because there are a lot of people who do use social media, but they don't really know how to connect in the way that you're referring to. How do you do that? Say, let's take Facebook for starters.
Okay, well, for Harlem Needle Arts, we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And you can go to harlemneedlearts.org and you'll see a Facebook link, or you can just type in Harlem Needle Arts and it'll come up as one of the items listed in Google once you search.
Right.
And click on it and you can like us.
Okay.
Just click on the word like.
Yes.
Now, it's a public Facebook page. So it gives up-to-date information, any newsletter content that we send out.
All right.
It filters straight into Facebook, filters into our Twitter account. So you can follow us. You can let us know what you can do, where you are, if you know if there's a family in need.
We can talk to you, in other words.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can talk to us, and I'm constantly on Facebook because I use it as a source of news. Yes, there's a social aspect. Yes, all my high school buddies and I are still connected. But at the same time, I guess, for me, we are in control of who our world is and the content that we receive in that world. So
Yes.
Oftentimes we hear things about social media that it's not beneficial. But no, there are definitely aspects of working communities and supporting communities that we need to capture in that world of social media.
Okay. You're on Twitter, I take it, as well.
Yes, on Twitter.
Okay. All right. So all you have to do is go to the harlemneedleworks.org.
Harlem Needle Arts.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oy vey. Harlem Needle
Arts.
Arts.org. And you can click on the link on their homepage to Facebook and to Twitter in order to connect in to find out up-to-date information about what some of their efforts are, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. I also understood from the news reports that connecting with people in these areas that were most affected is also tough.
It's very difficult because even if they have PDAs, there's no electricity. I recently saw a young lady who said the cell towers in those areas are down. No communication. So I rely on my sources who they can get out into those areas. They may live in those areas or have shelter within those areas. So they're communicating to me through Facebook and texts when they can get to a site where they have resources to do so.
Yes.
And that's why I'm in York College, because they're basically, I think they're still closed because they are a shelter right now.
Right.
But they are basically up and running and have technology so they can reach out to the community at large and do that. It's a tricky situation. It took me a couple of days before I put anything out because I wanted to make sure that I was really connecting to a source.
Yes.
I know, everyone wants to do something, but we don't want to waste their time and what they're doing. So I wanted to make sure who's doing what where.
Right. And that's where your special events planning background comes into play, right?
Yes, very much so. Organized, the who, what, where, when, how.
Absolutely. Because you can make all the efforts in the world, and if they're not targeted and specific to help the people that are going to receive them, then it's really all for naught.
Definitely.
And that's not something I can look at you and tell that's not what you're about.
I'm not. No, I want to show results. I'm not here to. If no one ever hears Harlem Needle Arts in this effort, that doesn't matter to me. Right. It matters that did we help a family? Are they warm? We're right in the middle of winter. It's getting colder. It's going to rain again. The lists are changing in terms of what the needs are. Right. How comfortable can they be in a shelter? Can we brighten their day? If they need blankets and we have quilters who want to choose to make blankets to brighten their day, then that's going to help them. That's coming from the soul and the spirit, and that definitely shows community.
I think that some of the other forgotten victims, if you will, of all of this are the children.
Definitely.
Because people really tend to hone in on adults. It's adults that have lost their homes, all of their possessions. It's adults who are heads of households. So your mind tends to go there first. But the children, on the other hand, have probably been impacted to an even greater level than any of us realize.
I am sure they are. They're not able to go to school. They are in a place where they've never been before. That, no one has the book that says, how should we feel? How should we handle this situation? I'm sure there is a book, but we're not really in that mode because we don't feel it's part of our lifestyle. It's not affecting us. Or at least we thought it wouldn't affect us. So how do we deal with the young people? How do we keep their spirits up? How do we give people hope that, okay, we will rebuild, you will have another home, but what's the temporary
You will
fix?
have more clothes. Your toys can be replaced.
Exactly.
What you still have is the love of your family.
Yes, and be thankful that you have your life.
That's right.
Because in the end, when you really look at what you need in your life, you evaluate. You take a look at, well, I don't need 10. I'm getting ready to say Nintendo, but I'm not sure if that's still.
I'm not either, but just take 10 of any popular toy.
Popular toy. I don't know.
Okay.
You probably don't need 10 cartridges. You probably just need one. Or how do you engage your family in family night? I guess growing up, we were very family oriented in a way that said, I remember we used to sit up at night, all in my brother and I in my parents' bed, and watch wrestling very late at night on a Saturday evening, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That was a big deal for my brother and I.
Yes.
And that's a simple pleasure or a simple experience that when I think about it, it just warms your heart. So I know our young people may not understand that they don't have right now, but I think it's an opportunity for our church leaders and our religious institutions, our community institutions, to bring that home. And this even uses an opportunity for us to show social responsibility on our end.
Absolutely.
And I think
agree
that's
with
critical.
You. Yes, it is.
So it's up to our young people here in this community and our listening audience to understand how can they help some young people who are in Far Rockaway or Coney Island or stuck in a shelter temporarily. Not with necessarily a whole bunch of things, but just a kind word.
Yes.
To know that someone else is praying for them and giving them much needed support.
And I know that what's happened, you think will never, ever, ever happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've heard that many, many times since Hurricane Sandy roared through here. And, in terms of being prepared even for that kind of disaster, we tend to think that it happens someplace else, but never, ever to us.
Exactly. It's almost like in Kansas is where this happens, the kind of Wizard of Oz kind of mentality. Or, what happened in New Orleans with Katrina.
Yes.
And now we're up north. We are devastated with this experience. It doesn't just, it affects all people. That's the other thing.
Does.
It's not just poor communities. It's not just rich communities. Everyone is in the same boat. And I think the importance here is that how do we learn to be neighbors and supportive? I think that's going to be a critical lesson that comes out of this, particularly for the parent whose 2 sons were swept out of her hands and no one came to her rescue when she went knocking on doors for help. We really
I cried tears, buckets of tears.
When you heard that story.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I'm sure there are other stories.
Yes.
And the fears that people have and sort of the lack of understanding about who we are as a people, that's very, it's hurting.
It is. We still have a lot to talk about.
Sure.
What I want to do is take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the efforts to aid those in need who've been affected by Hurricane Sandy. I'm Audrey Adams. You're listening to Talk with Audrey. My guest is Michelle Bishop. We'll be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Are you a singer, a musician, or a producer? Are you looking to record a demo, a song, or an entire album? This is Angela Harden, General Manager of WHCR 90.3 FM, and I'm excited to tell you that you no longer have to travel all the way downtown to record your project. WHCR offers a state-of-the-art recording studio with an experienced engineer. Our studio is affordably priced and conveniently located in the heart of Harlem, right here on the campus of City College. For rates and information, please call 212-650-7147. That's 212-650-7147. Harlem has its own radio station and its own recording studio.
Veterans have difficulty transitioning their military skills into civilian jobs. In New York City, an estimated 17,300 veterans are unemployed. Are you a veteran in desperate need of help? Do you want to take advantage of a life-changing opportunity? If so, the 369th Veterans Outreach Program is designed to assist veterans in Harlem and surrounding communities. Veteran services include resume preparation, interview workshops, access to interview attire, and reliable transportation. For more information, call the 369th Veterans Outreach Program at 646-533-9292.
I want to play for you before we continue my conversation with Michelle Bishop. I'd like to play Let One Voice Emerge. I know you've heard it a zillion times on my show, but you know what? This is election night. And if you haven't had a chance to vote, I really, 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 really would encourage you to get out and vote. Who cares if the line's long? It's a privilege to be able to stand there. Take your friends, take your family members, call folks and find out whether or not they voted, and encourage them to let their voice be heard. I'm Audrey Adams. We'll be right back. Enjoy the music.
One voice means more than you know. Remember that you have a say. It's your one chance to channel your hopes. So don't let this chance slip away. 'Cause everyone matters. Something no one else will hear. Whatever together, truth grows louder and louder. Speak from your conscience with nothing to fear. Let one voice be heard. Let one voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. Women together. Let one voice emerge. Sisters, it's time for sure to honor every sacrifice of the brave ones who've gone before. 'Cause they've already paid the price. And everyone matters. Something no one else will hear. But if we're together, speak from your conscience with nothing to fear. Let one voice
I'm Audrey Adams. I hope that inspired you. Doggone it, every single time I play that song, I gotta rock it because, you know, we have such a privilege in this country to be able to vote, and let our voice be heard. We just have to be willing to make that effort. And it's all about citizenry, to me. And I hope you remember when I interviewed Gail Kitch. She's the Chief Operating Officer of the Voter Participation Center, and they were encouraging women and other people less likely to be enrolled and registered as voters to register. And it's been a huge effort. It's a year-long, 365 days, from 2008 to 2012 and beyond. If you were not fortunate enough to be able to register to vote in this particular election, I would encourage you to register so that you'll be ready for the next one. All right, so let's get back to helping people.
That's right.
Michelle is here and has agreed to join me this evening to talk about helping some of the people who have been really, really severely displaced by Hurricane Sandy. So you know all about her organization. You know all about how we both feel about helping people and why it's important.
That's right.
We know about the impact of the hurricane and the good that might come out of it, which is helping people to reconnect with their children, families to reconnect, and for all of us to really realize what is important in this world. And it is ultimately your life. Hit it, Michelle.
That's right. It's definitely important for us to evaluate what our needs are and what brings us joy. And we are thankful and blessed in our community here in Harlem for the most part. Outside of a few cars and downed trees, we have not been scarred by Sandy. And we are mobilizing our friends near and far to donate much needed items. And tomorrow starts our first day of collecting. We have partnered with my good college sister friend, Reverend Lisa Danielle Jenkins from Blessed Trinity Baptist Church here in Harlem, who is using her site as a collection site. Tomorrow, Harlem Needle Arts is reaching out to our crew tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, November 7th from 3 to 7. And Thursday, November 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We're requesting items which are much needed. And these should be new items because these are more personal care items. Towels, washcloths, blankets, a laundry bag, baby food, baby formula, baby Pampers for 22 pounds and up, new female underwear garments, bras, underwear, vest, men's undergarments, size 3X or larger, name tags, Vaseline or petroleum jelly. I put the laundry bag on the list because I know when you're running for your life, as many people have done.
You didn't grab a suitcase, did you?
You didn't get a
No.
suitcase.
Mm-mm.
And we can go into any of our local 99-cent stores and for about $1.49, get a laundry bag with at least a drawstring.
Absolutely.
We can contain the items
Yes.
that they have. I know, it's not the best, but it helps.
Yes.
So those are the items. And like I said, we start tomorrow at Blessed Trinity, and they are located at 131 West 129th Street between Lenox Avenue and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, which up in this hood we call 7th Avenue, for those of you who know or don't know. And we will be there tomorrow. And definitely, like I said, Facebook, Twitter, you can connect to us and the information is there. So
And what about a phone number also?
You can
Michelle?
reach us at 212-491-8581. If you would like to email us directly, it's harlemneedlearts@verizon.net. You can always link to us through our contact page on our website, which is harlemneedlearts.org.
Okay. Plenty of ways to be in touch with Michelle and her group. Give us the phone number one more time, please.
Sure, 212-491-8581.
Okay. All right. Now, what's really interesting is that, again, some of the items that she mentioned are so basic to just creature comforts.
Yes.
People want to feel clean. They want to be clean. And when you are running around and trying to gather what few possessions you might have left, it is in sand, it is in filthy water, it is in your shoes and clothing becomes mud encrusted. Where are you going to wash them?
Exactly.
I mean, you really do have to think about the basics.
Think about the basics. I'm hopeful that at some point, I remember there was a Tide commercial where Tide brought in a mobile sort of wash station
Wouldn't that be
down in
nice?
Katrina. And, that's probably something I could put on my list to
Right, I
write
was going to
Tide
say.
and whoever their parent company
We
is.
need to, I think it's Procter & Gamble.
Exactly.
We need to call all those people with money.
Right, exactly. And let's talk about money for a minute. I know many of the stations are requesting that we donate money, and I understand the need for staffing a certain way, but I also, for me, it's really getting to that, touching that person right away. So I understand the money donation. I know there are churches in our community that are taking up donations and actually delivering to parishioners in other places. Right. So, you understand how it's really touching the soul.
Now, Michelle, this you mentioned earlier that this is not a one-time thing. This is going to take time to heal, time to repair. So will this be an ongoing collection effort? It's
going to be an ongoing collection effort. The next probably list of items and a location site, I don't know yet. I want to. I'll be talking further with Reverend Darren Ferguson and some of the other people in the Rockaways to assess now. Like they need garbage bags and work gloves and duct tape and tarps. So now that's another set of items and different, that's more like a Home Depot type run. I want to know when they need it, how we can get it there. Blessed Trinity has a way to get the items out. Once we start dealing with bigger items, people still need generators. And in our entire region, generators are scarce.
Yes.
I don't know if they're coming into the city. The other concern is that we have the gasoline shortage.
Yes.
So I did reach out to a bus company, but they're so inundated with dealing with first responders and lending their buses. And then also there's the gas situation. They can't help now. Right. But that doesn't mean maybe in a month that we need another set of donations that they won't be able to support us. So it's an ongoing effort. Anyone in the listening audience who has a truck, I remember when Katrina occurred, there were some people in the community at large, I will say, who we met downtown at a nightclub and loaded up a huge truck full of supplies that was driven down to New Orleans. I shouldn't say Katrina. I'm sorry.
No, that's
to
all right.
New Orleans.
It was the event.
Right. To the victims of that disaster. So this, for me, is another opportunity to begin to mobilize on that level. I am hopeful that we'll hear more from other institutions within the Harlem community about how we can help. I've been speaking to my friends and seeing how we can be on the ground out there. Now that the trains are running a little bit, we'll see how far we can get and what our volunteer hands can do.
Yes.
I know they need hot meals, but I think there's like a Save the Children camp out there that can prepare. I believe it's about 10,000 meals a day, which, only is surface.
Yes.
And then once again, getting to all the people that need it.
And then let's not forget about those people who have illnesses that are going to be exacerbated as a result of this. They might be diabetic and have no access to their medication. I mean, the list goes on and on.
We have elders that definitely need medication. I don't know if there's like Doctors Without Borders who's going to come in and help us.
Right.
But these are all factors. Those are lifestyle aspects that are continuous. It's not a luxury. Those are necessities.
Right.
And we are hopeful that their needs are being taken care of, that our voice is being heard, that our emails are being forwarded to someone who knows someone that maybe we can help, maybe we can touch. If someone working in the medical profession that is able to go out and volunteer, that I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
The other thing that this does is really point out how interdependent we are of one another.
Definitely.
as I was watching the city start to come back to life, if you will, you know, you can't you can't pump the water out of the subways if the man and his family have been devastated in New Jersey and they work in the city. And you know, we're all so very, very connected, and we need each other. All of us. I'm talking about rich, middle class, poor, whatever. We all count on having each other.
We definitely need each other. We've been tested here in New York. 9/11 tested us.
Mm-hmm.
We're being tested now. I think the city, for the most part, mobilizes, but I think somewhere in between we forget. And we have to be really conscious of what it means to be community.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in Harlem or Far Rockaway, Coney Island, or Howard Beach, or wherever, we are all in the same boat in the end.
We are.
How are we going to paddle together to reach a point where we are supporting each other, we're working in unison, we understand what it means to be socially responsible, and give back? And I know a lot of that may happen culturally in our communities through the churches, but then there are also social organizations, there's fraternities and sororities, and I think we need to, you know, step up to the plate a little bit more and understand and recognize some of the aspects of our communities that need a lending hand, not just through the Sandy efforts, but overall. So I think it happens. I think we may not see it as much. Some people are in certain circles and have that information constantly. And then there are other people who, I hear often people that says, I'm looking for a volunteer effort. Where can I go? So we need to be able to send them to a source. And I believe New York on the nyc.gov site has a volunteer sort of a page where you can link up to places like New York Cares. And I know New York Cares mobilizes and goes and you see them on the street doing things. So I'm sure they're part of this cleanup effort.
But, you know, the other thing you can do is pay attention to your neighbor.
That's the closest thing to you.
And I think that in this instance, it really is about neighbor helping neighbor.
Yes.
Because neighbors know the needs. Who knows your neighborhood better than you do? And
like
whether you like to think it or not, who knows you better than your neighbor?
Exactly.
Right?
And we have to understand and respect each other in those situations and not sort of look down at people because they're different in a way that it's just really visible.
Yeah, that's all.
You know, we have to understand that we need each other. And that's, you know, the sad telling tale about the situation with the woman who lost her 2 sons. And neighbors not supporting her. And unfortunately, I hope there are no other situations like that. That situation should have never happened.
Right.
In a community where, you know, you see water flooding down the street. I think, I don't know how true it is or is not that during Hurricane Irene, in certain parts of Staten Island, there was looting. I don't recall that, but I think there was some fear with Sandy that if people left their homes, they became vulnerable to people, you know, violating their space.
And you know what? Karma will get those folks. Karma will take care of
exactly
take care of those people. But you know, I think that if you manage to leave with your life, things are just things. They can always be replaced.
They can always be replaced.
And you think, oh, gee whiz, I don't have a car anymore. I don't have a house anymore. I don't have my clothes, my bedroom. How am I going to start again? How are we going to start again? Where are we going to go? Life is very different for those people now.
Yes, they have to reevaluate. And I know that with the support of good neighbors around them, the city, social service organizations, churches, synagogues, all of the above, that they will understand the connection, see what it takes to build that bond and make that bond strong, be prepared. I think one of the things we should mention is that we really do have to be prepared.
Absolutely right.
Now, we're blessed here in Harlem, but there are some instances where my parents called and said, it feels like our apartment is swaying. They're on the 26th floor.
Yes.
Okay. And then the understanding of what happens when, we don't have water. It could have happened here.
Absolutely. It really could have.
And there's so many people that are walking 26 flights and 10 flights to take water to neighbors. So what is the preparedness that we need for these types of disasters? We really, for many years now, the city has been talking about go bags or ready bags.
Yes.
So we need to
I don't
be
think
mindful.
anyone ever took that seriously. I've always had one. When I had a car, I had it in the car.
Exactly. And we have to be prepared,
Yes.
have that backpack filled with the items that we really need. We have to take it seriously.
And then when it comes to those important papers, because I live sort of in this digital world,
Yes.
I would encourage people to make copies of all of their important documents and email them to themselves someplace,
Right.
Put it in a folder in an email account so that you have it should you ever lose it.
Exactly.
That you're not starting from scratch again. And I think that's also very important.
And scan in everything, put it on a USB, and that's in the bag. So
Exactly.
you can, and yes, emailing it in a secure site. So
Or
that
if cloud computing is the other thing that they call it.
Exactly.
But really consider those options that you have available to you that really don't cost anything.
Right.
So,
They don't cost anything.
yeah, absolutely. You just have to have a little know-how. And if you don't have the know-how, go to the public library and they'll tell you.
That's right. And it's for free.
The number again, Michelle, is 212-491-8581. The email address is harlemneedlearts@verizon.net.
Correct.
And the website is harlemneedlearts.org. And you can connect to her and her organization and all that they're trying to do to be of service in this community and beyond. Let's do the list again. Tell us what you are looking for, the dates and the times.
Yes, starting tomorrow, Wednesday, November 7th. Time, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, November 8th. Time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The items that are needed need to be brand new. Towels, washcloths, blankets, laundry bag, baby food, all stages, baby formulas, baby Pampers, 22 pounds and up, undergarments for females, bras, underpants, vest, etc., men's underclothes, size 3X and larger, name tags, Vaseline. These items can be dropped off tomorrow and Thursday at the times mentioned at Blessed Trinity Baptist Church. That's the Church of Reverend Lisa Danielle Jenkins, located at 131 West 129th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue, or Lenox and Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard here in Harlem. We are collecting this week. The items that are collected here will be going to the shelter at York College, which is in Queens. And I don't know how much longer the shelter will be open, but at least through next week. I know that is one of the only City University schools that is still closed. And, of course, they're definitely supporting the community because I'm sure many of their students are affected.
Absolutely.
So that's I applaud York College. I applaud the City University system for supporting the students out there. I applaud Reverend Jenkins for responding to my texts and Facebooks and all of the above.
And let me thank you, Michelle Bishop, for taking the reins on this and making a difference in, like I said before, not just this community, but beyond the community as well. And I think that we can all learn a lesson from this, guys. We're all interdependent, but we all can still do something to be helpful to other people in this life. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of time. We're going to get this information up for you. I know that Michelle's going to have it up on her site, and I will certainly put it up on mine. I want to thank you for listening, and again, encourage you to vote, vote, vote.
Vote.
The polls are still open, and you still have a chance to make a difference there, too. If you have to stand in line, it's a privilege. You can go from that line to Michelle's line.
There you go. We'll see you tomorrow.
That sounds good to me. I'm Audrey Adams. Don't forget, you can like us on Facebook and you can find us on Twitter. And don't forget to visit the site, theadamsreport.com. We'll see you next week. Up next, Jay Lee and the J Spot.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
The World Evangelical Deliverance Church Incorporated presents the 53rd anniversary of Reverend Dr. Ruth Singletary on Saturday, November the 10th, 2012. Doors open at 2. Program starts at 3 at the New Covenant Temple of United Holy Church of America, 1805 Amsterdam Avenue, a corner of 149th Street in New York City. From Mississippi, it will be the Jackson Southerners. From Mississippi, the 5 Blind Boys. The Timothy Wright Memorial Choir.
Whatever betide, Lord will, take care of it.
The Gospel Slide Minister, Brother Derek Smith. The legendary Roscoe Robinson, formerly of the Blind Boys of Mississippi and Alabama. Little Sammy and the Mighty Flying Clouds. Deacon Williams and the Soul Converters. The People's Brothers. Eddie and the Joy Wonders. The Sunset Jubilees. The Fantastic Solinaires. Brother Lenny Stewart Jr. Your MC, Sister Liz Black, Sister Virginia Cotton, and Dalton Anderson. Is all happening on Saturday, November the 10th at the New Covenant Temple of United Holy Church of America, 1805 Amsterdam Avenue, a corner of 149th Street in New York. No tickets at the door. No tickets at the door. For information, you can call 347-346-8365. That's 347-346-8365. Dr. Ruth Singletary's 53rd anniversary featuring the Jackson Southerners. Saturday, November the 10th. Saturday, November the 10th. For more information, 347-346-8365. This is Dalton Anderson. I'll see you there. And he always about me.
Are you a singer, a musician, or a producer? Are you looking to record a demo, a song, or an entire album? This is Angela Harden, General Manager of WHCR 90.3 FM, and I'm excited to tell you that you no longer have to travel all the way downtown to record your project. WHCR offers a state-of-the-art recording studio with an experienced engineer. Our studio is affordably priced and conveniently located in the heart of Harlem, right here on the campus of City College. For rates and information, please call 212-650-7147. That's 212-650-7147. Harlem has its own radio station and its own recording studio.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Do, yeah. All right now, my mic sounds nice. My headphone levels are ready. Welcome to the J Spot. It's your girl Jay Lee, the Fabulous, bringing positive vibes and a soulful experience to you each and every Tuesday right here on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. Pardon while I'm adjusting. I'm a tall midget, and somebody put the seat up really high. I feel like I'm in a baby seat. So for the next hour, I have some music that will lift your spirits and some information that I would hope you take down and pass it on to someone who might need it. We are all here in New York trying to get past and through the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. So I went to nyc.gov. If you need some help, you may not have access to a computer, you can always call 311. But I have some information for food, water, and blanket distribution locations starting at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So today it's done, but you can always go tomorrow. So get a pen and paper as I'll be giving information throughout the show. There's one site in Staten Island, 3 sites in Brooklyn, and a few in Queens. I took down the locations of 3. There are warming centers. You can get all of this information on the city's website, which is nyc.gov, or you can call 311. There are warming centers. I'll be going online to get to say the name and address. There's a lot of them. They have day centers and evening centers. And then for disaster assistance, you can apply online. You can use your smartphone because almost all of us have one. Or you can use, there's an 800 number for the hearing and speech impaired that you can call as well. So I have that information for you as well. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the show, but this is the J Spot, and it is my duty to bring positive vibes to you for the last 5 years. So that's what I decided to do today. I have some music to lift your spirits and information to help you out. I don't have much to give as I'm unemployed. However, I have been going through my closet, and I have some brand new, barely used, and I even have a new coat. So whoever gets at me first, we'll talk. The new on-air number is 212-650-6903. If you are in need of some clothes, yeah.